Hello friends, welcome back to another off-the-cuff ramble with me, FPL Mez. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how my game week 1 went to kick off the 25-26 season. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't a great game week, so expect a tiny bit of ranting. I'll also share my early transfer plans and what my team selection looks like for game week 2. So grab your drinks and snacks and enjoy the episode. So before I get started with how my game week 1 went, I just wanted to say a quick hello and also do a short intro for those that are tuning in for the first time. So I'm Mira, I'm based in Sydney, and this is my 5th season of playing FPL, my 3rd season of creating FPL content through my off-the-cuff show. And as the name suggests, it's super off the cuff, very rambly. I do very little preparation to share my FPL journey with you guys. And so whether it's good, bad or ugly, highs, lows, all of that, I will bring that to you week after week to share how my game weeks are going. And I often get some guests on the show as well to share their journey, but also get some advice from them and often preview game weeks as well. So yeah, if that's the kind of content that you enjoy, and hopefully you'll enjoy this video as well, please do like and subscribe, and really appreciate your support. So as usual, I'm going to be using my online collaboration board to share my FPL season and how my journey is going, and I've decided to call my weekly reviews the hits, misses and moves episode. So hopefully I can keep it structured around what went well, what didn't go well, and hopefully some insights into the types of moves I'm thinking about making. So looking at game week 1, it wasn't the best for me. So I made some really last minute moves. So if you caught my live stream on Friday, so I did like a deadline decisions type of a stream, very last minute, and I was stuck between going with Palmer or bringing in Saka in the team to start with, just because of the fixtures that Arsenal have in the first 2 against United, and of course they've got Leeds coming up now as well. But I decided to just stick with Palmer instead and think about sort of moving Palmer on to Saka if Saka looked really good against United, and then maybe even move Saka onto Bruno because Bruno's got Burnley in game week 3. But I'm just going to play it week by week and see how it goes. If you caught my stream on Friday, I mentioned that I'm going to play really casually this season. So yeah, let's see how this goes. But for those that are listening on audio as well, I'm just going to read out my team and then I'll talk through some of the, I guess, the things that happened in my team as well. The sequence of unfortunate events that occurred in my team is probably the best way to put it. So I've got Sanchez in goal, and he got me 7 points. Really glad about the clean sheet. I'm not sure if I was expecting a clean sheet, but glad that Chelsea kept a clean sheet there. I've got Frimpong on 1 point, which was a bit of a disaster after I made a very last minute move to bring him in, and I had double Forest defence with Murillo and Williams as well. Murillo getting me 2 points, Williams getting me 1. Van de Ven keeping a clean sheet with 6 points there as well. So I'm really glad that there was 2 clean sheets at the very least in my team. I then went with Salah in midfield, who got me 8 points, and I played my captaincy on Salah as well, so 16 points in total. I had Wirtz as well, who only got 2 points, and Palmer with 3 points, which was, yeah, I'll come back to that as well. Rogers got me 3 points in the midfield as well, and up front I had Strand Larsen with 2 points and Watkins with 2 points. On my bench, I had Dubravka, which I think everyone had. I also had Xhaka, Anderson, and Mark Guiu as well. And so, for a bit of context, this wasn't the team that I shared on Friday. I ended up making some very last-minute changes to my team, and that was mostly because I really wanted Frimpong in my team. And so this was probably my Liverpool bias. So I think I've got a post-it note there. Yeah, Liverpool bias about having Wirtz being a god option. But what I mean here is a good option. Let me just quickly change that on the go while I'm doing this video. Is Wirtz a good option? But more importantly, on the topic of Frimpong, was he a good option to bring in? And honestly, like, I just wanted to have... I was just really excited about having Frimpong at Liverpool, same with Wirtz as well. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring them into my team as well, especially because I'm playing a little bit more casually. Super disappointed with the Frimpong episode because he went off, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds. If he waited 30 seconds, he could have got 6-pointer. Clean sheet, and then of course, so Liverpool scored 2 goals. Frimpong came off at the 59th minute, and I don't know, about 35 seconds in or something like that, and yeah, they lost their clean sheet shortly after. But look, we got the win as well. But I feel like it was super unfortunate that Frimpong came off before the 60-minute mark. So really, really annoying that happened. And I'm hoping that Frimpong will still come good. With Murillo in and Williams in my team, look, that also seems like it was like an unfortunate event that happened. It was off the back of a pen. Yeah, look, it's super frustrating, but generally speaking, I'm really happy with the double Forest defense that I've got. Van der Ven, I probably won't be playing in game week 2 against City, but happy again that, I have him in the team, and he'll probably change between Anderson and Frimpong as well. Actually, I'm not sure if I'll bench Frimpong, but, I can at least switch between Anderson and Van der Ven as and when needed as well, and maybe only play one Forest defender depending on the match that they've got coming up. So generally speaking, I'm happy with the defense, and of course I'll make some changes along the way as I go as well. So in the midfield, as I mentioned, was Wirtz a bit of is he a good FPL option or not? I'm not too sure, because at the moment, whilst he's got a little bit of free reign to move around, roam around, it just seemed like it's going to take him a little bit of time to get adjusted to the Premier League. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect with Wirtz at the moment, but I'm happy to just keep him in the team and be patient. I'll probably give him another game week or so and potentially get rid of him against Arsenal. I'll see how I feel if there's another player that sort of emerges other than the obvious that's on my thumbnail, so that's Reinders. And I'll chat a little bit about that when I get to Xhaka. So with Palmer, look, I went with Palmer over going with Saka, and in fact I wasn't too sure about having Palmer in my team at all and just going with Bruno. But look, I ended up with Palmer, and I don't regret it, but I'm just going to wait and watch and see how that goes. Just stay calm with Palmer. I'm hoping that he'll just kind of come through. But yeah, it looked like he was just not really playing in that match against Palace. So yeah, let's see. And it was kind of similar with Rodgers and Watkins as well. Like that match against Newcastle, I don't know what happened with Villa. It was almost like they didn't really show up in the same way that they had in pre-season. And I guess that's pre-season for you as well, right? Like you learn a bunch, and you hope that kind of performance will then continue into the new season as well. But yeah, let's see how it goes. But I'm keeping my faith in Rodgers and Watkins. They both looked okay. They weren't as sharp, and I don't know, I think the passing in their midfield was a little bit off in general, but I reckon they'll come good in the upcoming fixtures that Villa have as well. And look, despite the outcome for Wolves going, they lost 4-0 against City. I was really happy with what I saw with Strand Larsen, and that was a very last-minute decision. Again, I was thinking about which player to go with up front, and honestly, none of them were very inspiring. In fact, I was thinking about going with Mateta. Wood was also on my radar as well. I think from the 7.5s, the order probably would have been Mateta, unfortunately, João Pedro, maybe a Chris Wood after that, and then like Strand Larsen, Fulkrug, they were sort of hitting my radar as well. I decided to go with Strand Larsen just because I like some of the Wolves fixtures that are coming up, after game week 1. I'm really happy that I went with that option, and he looked really good despite them losing overall. So yeah, fingers crossed that works out okay. So on my bench, Dubravka with 2 points, Xhaka with 3 points, Anderson with 2 points, and Mark Guiu there with 0 points, as expected, did not play. Anderson I wouldn't have played anyway. I just had a feeling that they would probably concede, and they did. Xhaka, unfortunately, I could have played, but ended up playing like if I'd gone with a different defensive option, I probably would have played 3-5-2 in this lineup. For game week 1. But what I wanted to do, so I originally had Reinders there, and that's the team that I shared on Friday. So I think in defense, I was going with another 4.5 million defender, and I was going with Reinders. And what I needed to do was free up another zero point 0.5 mil. Or I think maybe I was thinking about bringing in Munoz in defense as well. So yeah, I ended up like freeing up 5 mil, sorry, 0.5 mil to go with Xhaka, and then upgraded my 5.5 to Frimpong, and I felt pretty good about it because I was like, you know what, I've just found a way of getting Frimpong in, and the casual player in me really wanted to bring him in as well. So yeah, ended up going there. Do I regret it? Maybe ever so slightly, but I have to remember that I'm like, I've picked this team not just for one game week. It is for a longer period of time. At least the 3 to 4 game weeks ahead is the type of planning that I tend to do. So I'm really hoping that it will come good, and I'm trying to stay calm and not knee jerk and react. And you'll see that when I share with you what I'm thinking for my game week 2 plans as well. So generally speaking, not happy with how many points that I got, but it's okay. It's the start of the season. I've been around the 6 million mark previously, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that shortly. So as I mentioned, not really important at this stage of the season. I think I was like 11 points off, if it seems, from my the safety score, and I'm using just live FPL to kind of share my game weeks as well, and my FPL journey. And those that hurt me the most, look, Reinders was the obvious one, like 10 points, lost me out with like five points there, sadly, and of course Haaland as well. So yeah, that would have been a huge factor. Haaland was the obvious other captaincy, so I think many managers ended up going with either Salah if they had Salah in the team, they went with Haaland if they had Haaland, but also those that didn't go Salah or Haaland probably went for like a Cole Palmer, for example, or a Bowen as well, which unfortunately did not work out for many managers. So this could have been a lot worse. So I'm generally happy with where my team is at, and generally happy that, look, I got the number of points that I got, but it's not necessarily because the players are shit. It's because it was one of those game weeks where some of the players did not come through in the same sort of predicted way. I did find Salah was quite frustrating to watch as well. So I think like with Liverpool, I'm definitely going to have to just see how it goes. So whilst I've started with triple Liverpool with Frimpong, Salah and Wirtz in my team, I'm happy to drop one of them. So it might end up being Frimpong to go for Munoz when some of the Palace's fixtures get better, or it might even be earlier with Wirtz and dropping him down to maybe even a Anderson from Forest, or go to Reinders as well. It seems like he is all the hype at the moment. So whilst I regret not making that move in the first place, it is a move that I can make despite the price sort of increasing there as well. Or maybe by game week 2, there's another option that becomes more appealing as well. So I'll see how that goes. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just keeping faith in the Liverpool players that I have, and hoping that things sort of improve. Which sort of brings me to the next sort of part of my video that I wanted to share with you guys. I was really thinking about some of the principles that I wanted to share, and what I'm taking into the season with me as well, especially the earlier part of the season. And these are little reminders or principles that, I'm hoping that I can keep coming back to, and maybe they'll be useful for you guys as well. So for my principle number 1, remember why you picked certain players. Unless they're dropped or injured, it's often worth giving them 2 to 3 game weeks. And I think it sort of goes without saying, but I think it's easy to also forget this point as well, that, I could knee jerk and take out Wirtz, for example, and go to Reinders. But I'm going to give him another game week as well, and just kind of see how it goes and just monitor the situation. He's not injured, he's not been dropped or anything like that, so I just need to be patient with it. And principle two, it's patience versus being pragmatic as well. So if you're unsure, waiting usually pays off, is what I've found. But if you feel strongly about a move and the data and the eye test or the fixtures back it as well, then just make the change. Look, I firmly believe that if you're not feeling good about the team or the player that you have, it's better to make some of those changes earlier on. And even if it means taking a hit, I'm a believer of, just making some of those shifts as early and as quickly as possible, especially if you feel strongly about it. But otherwise, it's probably better to be a little bit patient as well. So again, just a bit of a reminder that, I can give myself the permission to make the moves early, or to take a hit early, or to even play a chip early. And that brings me to the chip. You've got extra chips as well, like how exciting, and not as well that we've got double the chips. So this season, we've got a little bit of that extra flexibility. So if your structure feels broken, you can reset. Just don't confuse the bad game week with a bad team. And it's a really good reminder for me as well that whilst I've had a bad game week, what I deem as a bad game week anyway, it's not necessarily because my team is bad. So hopefully that's a nice reminder for you guys as well. Going on to my fourth principle, to manage the hits as well. So in my first season, I ended up taking something like, I think it was like 30 something hits or something like that, over 100 and something points. I'm not going to do the calculation right now. So I took plenty of hits, and maybe it was a little bit overkill. I finished about 190k. Happy in general with that, first season and that finish, but I learned to manage how many hits I was taking over the subsequent seasons. So whilst early -4s can snowball, they can pay off as well. So only take them if you're replacing someone who's not playing, or if the incoming player has form and fixtures as well. And listen to your gut as well. Like, what's your gut saying about it? So, last season I only ended up taking about 4 hits or maybe 5 hits, which is probably the least amount I've taken in the 4 seasons that I have, played previously. I'm happy to take hits this season, especially because I'm going to be playing a little bit more casually as well, a little bit more on my gut and vibes. Anyway, so for my fifth principle, and something for me to remember and hopefully helpful for you guys, focusing on the climb. So not just the rank. I sat somewhere between 4 and 6 million for easily over about 10 game weeks, and I still finished around that 65k mark in season 3 for me. So I think I've got my season previous finishes on the screen. And so look, it can be okay. Like, it will be okay. Like, give yourself the time, give yourself the sort of the space to kind of make up the rank game week after game week. So just be patient with it and focus on the climb one step at a time. Is how I'd like to look at it. So whilst I'm sitting somewhere 6.5 million or something like that with the game week not even finished, I reckon, I'll aim to still have a decent finish to the season as well. And a lot can change. So just focus on the climb, be patient for the time being. Which then takes me to the league. So I've got a mini league. I started the mini league sort of, I think, a third of the way last season. But my mini league is called Off the Cuff Mini League. And I've got the code on the screen there. So the code is HNX3WR. HNX3WR for those that are listening on audio. And this year, finally, I do have a prize to give to the league winner. And it's the official Fantasy Premier League notebook that I got from official Fantasy Premier League. So I got this a couple of years ago and I haven't used it. And I ended up getting another one. So I thought it would be really nice to gift this out as a prize for my mini league winner. So join the mini league, and hopefully you could win this official notebook from Fantasy Premier League. Going on to my bus team. So look, at the moment, and as mentioned, I'm generally happy with how my team is looking. So for those that are listening on audio, I've got Sanchez in goal, I've got Frimpong, I've got Murillo, Nico Williams, Mo Salah, Wirtz, Palmer, Rogers, Xhaka, Strand Larsen and Watkins in my starting 11. On the bench, I will have Dubravka, Van de Ven, Anderson and Mark Guiu. It'll be really funny if Mark Yu ends up playing, but yeah, at the moment I've got him benched and third bench. I guess I'm not really expecting him to play. I'm not sure who I would put him, ahead of from the starting 11 that I just shared. So yeah, I think at the moment he'll just sit on the bench there, and maybe my bench order will change. So I might put Anderson in on first bench there. Never know, Fulham playing at home at Craven Cottage might just get some returns there for Anderson or even a clean sheet. And so if one of my other players don't turn up, hopefully some jammy bench points will be very, very useful there. So look, at the moment, I'm thinking about rolling my free transfer, but I could make a move. And the move that I could probably make is taking Frimpong out or taking Wirtz out, which seems, I don't know, a little bit sort of knee-jerky at the moment. But yeah, I could end up going with like a Munoz. And whilst that's not ideal having Munoz there as well, and I've got Murillo and Williams as well. But yeah, I just feel like I would want a Palace defender over the next couple of game weeks anyway, and that's probably where I would have gone if I hadn't brought Frimpong in. So it might be a little bit knee-jerky, but that's what I'm thinking about at the moment. The alternative as well is to just free hit in game week 2. So, I think when I was looking at my team and looking at some of the predicted points, now, whilst I'm trying not to look too much at the predicted points and look at too much data, I do acknowledge that I probably don't have the strongest side to put out in game week 2 compared to those that have, Arsenal players in their team already. So the other option is, do I go for a Arsenal player? Do I, take out Palmer and bring in Saka, or, make another move, like maybe take out Wirtz and go Reinders, or go with like a Semenyo who played incredibly well against us on the weekend. Or just play the free hit if I really want to make more than 3 or 4 changes. And I think if my team would look better with a big overhaul and, maximizing on points, I think when I looked at a free hit draft, I could probably get something like 15 to 20 points more than what it's predicting for this current side. But I'll come back to that and think about that a little bit more. As I mentioned, the Everton versus Leeds match hasn't been played yet. And I'm also bringing a guest on my show this week as well. So please, catch that on Thursday night over here in Australia. So that will probably be around 9 p.m. Australia time, which is about midday in the UK, and somewhere in the afternoon. I think it ends up being about 5:30 p.m. In Indian Standard Time as well. So I will be having Andrew from one of my favorite podcasts, the FPL SideNet podcast, a fellow Sydney sider and, Australian FPL manager, joining me to preview game week 2 and look ahead and think about some of the players that we should be thinking about in our teams. But also I'm hoping that he'll be able to help me make up my mind whether I want a free hit or just roll my transfer or make a move from the team that I've just shared on the screen. So there you have it. That's my bus team. That's my game week 1 review. Let me know what you think. Let me know how your game week 1 went as well. Are you knee-jerking? Are you thinking about playing a chip in game week 2? I know there's many managers who may be thinking about bench boosting as well. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how your game week 1 went as well, what your plans are and what you think of my team. And as I mentioned, if you're tuning in for the first time especially, please do like and subscribe. And hopefully I will catch you on the stream on Thursday. But otherwise, take care and enjoy the rest of the game week of what we've got left, at least with the Leeds and Everton match. And I will catch you in the next one. Thanks again. Ciao for now.